Broke people care more about the money. If you've been broke your whole life, that's like being underwater. As soon as somebody's gonna give you some oxygen, you're taking it. But I'm not excusing it. I wasn't broke my whole life.
Right.
I was never broke. My version of broke is completely different than most. Like I said, people that are broke will do anything to not be broke. They justify not being honorable to do it. It's just don't look the other way. Money is not real. It's not backed by gold. And as you see, they're creating currencies daily. So don't do anything for money. Do things for love. And then you'll be protected and you'll know what real wealth is. Why not do it yourself? If you get 100 people in the room, you get 100,000.
Right.
It's just a little harder work. It's the advance money. If you've been broke your whole life and someone's going to give you something that's going to make you like all of a sudden be in another social circle,
yes,
then you're going to do it when you're young. You've been broke your whole life and somebody's going to make you rich like that, or at least what you perceive as rich, you're taking it. So, people know how to trigger people. It's a program.
What's up? So, the title of this video is How to Cope When You're Broke and Angry. Okay, now this ain't for anybody in particular. I'm not trying to, it's not a live stream to, poo-poo on people that are basically dealing with financial stressors. Okay. That's a word that, those a couple words that I was thinking about for like about the last 24 hours. I was thinking about financial stressors. Okay, because there is such a thing called financial stress. And I'm going a little deeper in conversation when I talk about financial stress, because that's what's going on for a lot of people. It's actually from my opinion, as far as from what I see on the ground, offline, online, a lot of people are kind of dealing with a lot of financial stress. The economy is, basically what it is. We know what's the whole rundown, right? Over 34 trillion in debt. Job sector is kind of shaky. Even tech is people are kind of quiet about tech. A lot of layoffs. You got a bank that folded, a national bank that folded. Earlier this week, late last week, Republic Bank. So that's like a bank failure. That's pretty sizable bank. Got some retail chain. It's like a teenager like chain or something like that. I think is I don't even know what it was called. I'm not really in touch with a lot of no one is in touch with everything, but I'm kind of out of touch with certain things. So the whole like Amanda, what is it? Amanda Bynes. You know how this is. I'm just show you how out of touch I am with things, right? Certain things, right? So I watched the entire seasons, all of the seasons of Insecure. I was late to the party because when I was watching Insecure, I don't know. I think I was watching it, and then I don't know. I think 2017. I think I stopped. I kind of stopped watching cable TV. Kind of cut the cord, but then it came on Netflix. I found it on Netflix not too long ago, and I was able to finish, where I kind of left off. And I had no fucking idea that Amanda, I think her name is Bynes, Amanda Bynes, was in Insecure. She was the basically kind of the queen bee of the sisterhood in Insecure. Did not put two and two together. I just didn't even it didn't even dawn on me till I was watching a live stream. It might be risky, and then they were talking about her in her interview with Shannon Sharp, and I was like, damn, that was her in Insecure. And it's just like, damn, I for what I know from what Amanda Bynes is, I believe. Let me kind of look her up because I might be kind of confusing her with somebody else. Um I'm not really sure if she's the person that I say Amanda Bynes. Is it Amanda's what the fuck? See, I don't really keep up with these celebrities like that, man. I really, I really, I really don't. I really don't keep up with these people, man. I really don't, man. I mean, I'm terrible with keeping up with all of this stuff. Um, let's see here. I got the names messed up. Um, Amanda Seals. Okay, Amanda Seals. Okay, I gotta do my homework real quick because I'm thinking this is the same chick that uh let's see here. Uh bu, 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 bu. Yeah. Yeah, she okay, so she's an actor. Okay. I'm getting some other chick confused. The chick that I'm getting confused is the guy, the chick that dated Common. Cause she reminds me of her. And I'm not necessarily sure is this the same person? Cause the chick that dated, or one of these chicks that I'm getting confused with Amanda Seals is she's a ex-lawyer, or her dad was a lawyer, I believe, or something like that. There's somebody else that I'm confused with as far as her. Well, basically, she's basically looks like she's basically a spinster. Um, a lot of these chicks, man, like that make these, that say all of these weird shit, the weird stuff, like they say crazy stuff, and it's like one of the commonalities that I see with a lot of these chicks, like her, Amanda Seals, the chick that dated 50 Cent, she's washed up, actor that hit the wall hard. They was on that BET show. Damn, I don't even know her name, man. I forgot her name. Vivica Fox. Vivica Fox. Like a lot of these chicks, man, these old spinsters in their 40s and definitely 50s, they start slowly converting into that mean, like one of the worst people that you really want to deal with is a post-war spinster. Man, those women will drive you crazy. You do not, man. Post-war, I'm a warn you, out here, man. You young guys, I mean, dealing with basically a post-war spinster is like next level type of, like, man, these are the women, man, that make you, after you have a confrontation with them, I mean, you got to do some woo size and all that type of stuff. Because it's like, man, really what you dealing with, in a lot of ways, you dealing with a woman that's turning into a crone. You know, a crone is like a mean, extremely mean old lady. You know, it's like basically, man, them like older spinsters, post-war spinsters. If you notice, most of the news and like they say crazy shit or they say like really disheartening things and stuff like that about people and people that died and all that type of stuff. It be them. It be them. They be the main ones, man, saying crazy stuff and heartless stuff and all that because basically nobody loves them. They have no love. They have no genuine love. Only genuine love they really have is their dog. That every time he looks at them, he's just licking his lips because basically they're food. And then God forbid something happen and they die, just in case you didn't know. So if you pass away and nobody's around, if you got cats, you got about 2 days before they start tearing you to pieces. A dog is more loyal, so generally, like a dog will wait like about 4 to 5 days. They'll give you like some extra days to, before they start tearing you off. After you pass away because there's no food around because you can't feed them. Now, I'm not making this stuff up, but I mean, yeah, like they don't have no genuine love. Like, your children, one thing about having children, and I'm not saying it's a motive to have children. Of course, women, it's a motive for women. Children, to a certain point, are the only ones that's really genuinely gonna love you besides your mother. You know what I'm saying? If your mother, was worth a damn, it's very few people that's gonna genuinely love you. And when people lack that, that experience or whatever, they be real cold. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean that's not necessarily what I'm talking about, because one of the things that these people have that I just mentioned is they do have money. Like Vivica Fox got a little money. And basically Amanda Seals has a little money as well. I mean, I don't know who has more. I don't necessarily know who has more. But basically they have money. I mean, the money doesn't make them happy as well. So yeah, that was the chick that I get Amanda Seals mixed up with, Angela Rye. Angela Rye is another one, basically a spinster. You know what I'm saying? Because see, women have, this is the thing, okay? Women have a period where you could say it's between their teenage years to, it could go a long time, depending on the woman, depending on how good she keeps herself up, depending on, you know what I'm saying, like kind of, let me do a side by side because I know I'm not tripping, because I got basically Amanda Seals mixed up with Angela Rye, because they look very similar. So let me see if let me try to do a side by side so you can see I ain't tripping. So the thing is that, like I said, with women, they got like, it could be a 20 plus year almost even 30. It could even go 40 plus year window where I call it, they could be so fine nobody can tell them nothing. They could be like, yeah, like they could be so fine, like it's a level of fine that nobody can tell them nothing. They can damn near have any man that they want, including celebrities, right? Which being a celebrity ain't even no big deal now, because shit, a celebrity, like if you're like a woman, an average woman could have celebrities following her if she looks like, if she's above a 7. You know, that's all it has to do. All she has to be is above a 7, and she'll probably have a celebrity or two basically following her in on her Instagram, and most likely possibly even going further, DMing her in her Instagram. Okay. I'm not, it's no big deal. Like that's just what happens. Like it's chicks that I went to high school with, and they like, yeah, I could have got with Usher, what I'm saying, but I turned him down. But that's like, that's nothing, because that's what men do. Men are very, thirsty or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And they dated other R&B singers and shit like that. So yeah, that's not a big deal, because women won't do that. Women, the average woman that's a celebrity, she's not going to inbox you, she ain't gonna do that shit, man. Just even a basic chick is not gonna, like, even a chick that like probably look like Whoopi Goldberg, she's not going to fucking inbox you, on some thirsty shit. Like you would have to be damn near a fucking male model, and you know what I'm saying, probably at an event or something, for them to even fucking try to even go there. But yeah, it's levels. What's going on, Salty? I ain't about to say the last word. What's going on, man? I'm still up, man. I was listening to y'all stream and art, man. I was just like, you know what? I got some things to say, man. I play a game or two of chess. But as I was saying, basically, yeah, it's certain women, they have a level of, basically a point where, yeah, you can't, they can't be told anything just about. They got a level, they have a level of fineness where, they know it. They like celebrities, and they want you to treat them like such. And then they get with certain men that give them that type of appeal. Okay, some of them climb up. So as you can see, I got these two chicks confused. I thought that I thought both of these chicks were, so I thought, basically, I didn't know who the chick was on the right. Okay. I thought the chick on the right was the chick on the left. And then, I know, I watched Insecure, and I just didn't put two and two together. Like you know what I'm saying? I when they was talking about it, I was like, oh, that's the chick is that the lawyer chick? Because the chick on the left is a lawyer. I think her dad is a lawyer, so her dad probably really, a lot of times women that have really powerful dads, it's a chance they can't go into that spinster category, because when a woman has a really powerful dad, she's looking for someone to match, and that's rightly so. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Women tend to look for men that are complementary to their dad. Men do the same thing. We search for our mothers. I never forget I was in a fucking currency exchange, and I was thinking about the chick that I was talking to at the time or dealing with, and I saw a pattern, and that shit freaked me the hell out on some like Freud shit. I was like, and I still didn't stop. Like, I what I'm trying to tell you is that some of the chicks that I've dealt with can kind of favor my mother, you know. And it's like, it's weird, but it's like when I thought about it, and I sit and think about it even now. Yeah, it weirds me out, but I can't deny it's not true. But yeah, she has a very prominent father, the chick on the left, right? I don't know about the chick on the right, Amanda Seals. Chick on the left is Angela Rye. So I kind of got these two confused, but when you have a really prominent father, it is because you're looking for somebody that could match your father, and then a lot of times women that have prominent fathers, they're really spoiled, they get princess treatment. So a lot of men, they're gonna have a problem with men because ain't nobody out here hardly gonna be trying to treat you like princesses and all that, because then basically that would be on some simp stuff. And then women don't women have a problem with being reciprocal with their levels of respect. So that's an issue as well. You said, yeah, they can't, no accountability with these folks. So yeah, I can understand that, in that regard, as far as like trying to find somebody like your dad and then being kind of spoiled, you know what I'm saying? I get that. But that's not necessarily what I'm talking about, because the conversation is about how to cope with when you're broke and angry. Kind of more or less on the lines of dealing with financial stress. These chicks, man, got money. Okay. They probably had money growing up. I don't know. But the chick on the left definitely did. Angela Rye, she came up, I think her father was like a lawyer or something like that, an activist or something. And then she went that route as well. So I do know fairly about her. She used to date Common. They both look very similar. I don't know if they know each other or hang with each other or whatever. I could definitely see them like, going out kicking it, being like on some like play sister type stuff. But um it's a period where, like I said, women, you get this with women that are, I call them 7-ups. They're 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, and they have a level where, yeah, they so fine that you can't tell them nothing. And then the ones that monkey branch, they eventually will monkey branch until they no longer can do it. And some of them become, they transition into being spinsters. Then they age out. They eventually age out. They eventually, some people crash the wall, like, Vivica Fox. And then some people, slowly, have a slow immersion into the wall, you know what I'm saying? But and then eventually you get older, and then really not too many people are checking for you. Then that fades away. Then people can absolutely tell you everything. And yeah, nobody can't, a lot of people can tell you what to do at that point. And your youth and your beauty pretty much can't, bail you out of situations and all of that type of stuff. You pretty much age out. It's a level where basically in old age, one of the bitterness and sournesses of old age is if you whatever you do have, you age out of it. Like your beauty fades and ages. You get older. You start to age out of your beauty, and that's one of the biggest things that women have is their beauty. And that's why I think they get kind of bitter and kind of get mad when they get older because basically they become the rose petal that gets browned and brittle and is no longer has its vigor and its beauty, and it starts to whittle and fade away. And yeah, it's a thing, man. But when you see the young chicks, man, you see the young chicks, man, they got the sideburns popping and the edges, and what I'm saying, got the look, and they got the outfits, and the Instagram is popping and all of that. You can see it. It's like, yeah, these is you can't tell me nothing chicks. And then they got the boyfriends and they got all of this, and it's like, yeah, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. And I get it, and I know these types of chicks, and they have certain levels of expectations that they get. And you know, it's hard to reach them because they know their heads is blown up, and they know that they have some type of special beauty to them, and depending on what type of enhancements or whatever, or not so much enhancements, depending on how their body and stuff like that is, it makes a bit of difference. If they got the whole package, the Coke bottle shape, fat booty, slim waist, big tits, that also helps. You know what I'm saying? Not no fake stuff, but yeah. So the thing is that as far as like when it comes to men, I would even say women too, being broke and angry is definitely a thing where basically people people have a problem with. They definitely have certain financial stressors that they're not really comfortable. One of the things that people don't like to talk about, right? People don't like to talk about their personal issues, like their family issues. Some people are comfortable with that. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying in the other live stream the other day, where people have three problems. And no, and another thing about those three problems, people don't really want to talk about. I'm the only crazy guy. I'm not the only one, but I'm very few. I'm one of few men that are okay with talking about you know certain problems and issues that I might have had in my life or might even currently be dealing with, right? A lot of people don't feel comfortable talking about these three issues, right? Health, social issues, problems with a spouse, problems with relationships and dating, problems with family, problems with friends, and then certainly the third, talking about money issues, financial issues. I can count on everything that I know. People don't want to talk about those issues. They will run away. They will like, it's certain people, they do not want to talk about those issues. Those are private matters. They keep that shit to themselves. People, almost explode to before they even talk about those issues. Those issues, a lot of times, that's why people have a financial broker or analyst or financial advisor. That's why people have a therapist or a psychiatrist. That's why people, have a doctor. Just so they can avoid talking to people about these issues. And some people talk to their friends, their personal friends, about things like that. But even they don't. You ever had a friend and you talking about stuff, and then they not even going in depth about what they problems and issues is. The conversation or the discussion is one-sided because they not even really talking about their issues and stuff like that. But you talking about everything. You releasing the vaults, you opening up the clearance, you talking about all kind of stuff, and then they not talking about nothing. I got family members like that. I talk about what's going on, and they ain't saying nothing. They ain't telling me nothing what happened to them. But then it's like of certain issues they gotta kind of say what's going on. Like I had somebody my family that had a kidney operation. He was having failing kidneys. I mean, it's like, that's pretty bad. And he had to be, vocal about that. But certainly it's a lot more detailed, than that. And it's like some people you kind of have to talk to them and maybe, ask some questions, and then they might tell you, it's hit or miss. But people tend to keep those things private, social issues, money issues, and health issues. But just because people keep things private doesn't mean that they're not struggling in having issues with those problems. Keeping things balled in is not like it's gonna solve the problem. It's not gonna make you not a broke a BAN because you're keeping things from others. It's, if anything, it probably will make you, basically what I'm trying to tell you is that it'll probably make you even more broke and angry, keeping all of these stressors to yourself, keeping these things private. um if you're just keeping it all in. And to answer your question, you had on a post of me playing a German Olympian. It was just all happen chance. It wasn't nothing. I'm not gonna say it wasn't special, but I mean, basically, it was just I was just playing chess. I looked the dude up, and then it just so happened he was a Olympic diver for Germany. But I didn't. If I probably go through the list of people that I played and actually Google them, I'm sure I probably beat some other prominent people. It just so happened that I just Googled them, and then dude was like a model. He was a German Olympic diver. He actually won a few medals. He just obviously he's not that good at chess because I ain't that damn good. And I beat his ass. But I've been practicing. But yeah, I mean it's like, yeah, people keep those things to themselves. They keep a lot of these stressors to themselves. They don't want to deal with them and talk to them. You have people on this on YouTube that the statistics are what they are. um that it's not like it's untrue. These stats are what they are. Basically 77% of individuals are in debt in America. you know Most, like nearly half of individuals live check to check. All kinds of stats, where it's like, okay, obviously people are struggling, but Nobody wants to talk about these financial struggles. Everybody knows black people are financially struggling for the most part. I mean, because pretty much we're at the bottom financially in this country. As far as a collective, pretty much you go through the hood. It's a lot of hoods. They got lack of unemployment, lack of employment, high crime, lack of businesses, and then they have other foreigners in their town or city that have the businesses that they patronize, and then they don't live in the neighborhood. They live somewhere 20, 30 miles away, and then they basically come in the community and they get financial support, and they might hire one or two people in the neighborhood and that's it, or they might not hire anybody. They have their whole family working for them, and it's basically, yeah, they're providing goods that people need, but it's like, without businesses there are no jobs. Without no jobs there's unemployment. With unemployment there's crime, because you're trying to survive. You're willing to do anything you can to survive, and basically that's committing crimes, property crimes, usually robbery, burglary, theft, to survive, to make it from day to day. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I've been talking about this for about 7 years on this channel. I mean, we're actually 8 now, 8 years, and it's not changed, obviously, but and people are still doing the same thing, bottling up financial stressors. People certainly will talk about their problems with relationships. One of the things out of like the three issues that I mentioned: financial, health issues, social issues, people will be okay with talking about social issues for the most part, to some more in depth than others. Meaning they'll be surface level with talking about social issues, but they won't really go into depth about it. But the thing is that people will be comfortable talking about social issues, but they don't talk about financial issues. And all of these things are interrelated. People date who is in their tax bracket for the most part. People have relationships with people that are very similar in their tax bracket. I mean, basically, even women tend to basically, that's what they talk about. I need a man to make the same amount of money as me. I need a man that is on my level. Women are definitely all about that. Not like, it's not like women don't date men that don't have a pot to piss in, or have babies with those men as well. They do. Okay, I'm telling you, they do. They have babies with men that ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you that. I'm not gonna hold you on that. Like, I mean, they might talk about it, but you know, the other men, they get with those men for other reasons as well too. But I say all of that to say that, yeah, I mean, the financial issues definitely have something to do with why people are basically having social issues as well, even having health issues. So it's like, yeah, it all goes into this situation where you have a bunch of individuals that are keeping all of this stuff in. They're keeping all of these problems and social issues in. And that's why they, exhibit the BAN behaviors, the broke and angry behaviors. They're not telling you they're broke, but as someone that is a brokeologist, okay, I repeat, I'm a brokeologist. I've given myself that title like Amanda, what is it? Amanda Seals. I'm a brokeologist. I'm giving myself that title years ago. And I am a brokeologist. So what does that mean, being a brokeologist? Just like a psychologist, I can listen to certain people and diagnose that, yes, most likely they are broke. They have some financial issues that they're not telling anybody. And that is the reason why they're bitter. That's not the main reason or the whole reason. They might have certain other issues and stuff like that, but that is definitely one reason. And I can decipher conversations and kind of tell, okay, yeah, this person is not really talking about what's really bothering them. They're not talking about their financial stresses, and that's why they're concerned about all these other things, and their surface level, we're talking about other stuff, and they're not telling you basically what's really going on with them. But me being a brokeologist, I can decipher it all. It kind of like it all goes back to the money. Okay, so I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna play some chess, and I'm gonna see what I can do. I just won one game, and it's kind of like I was kind of like warming things up. So I'm gonna see what I can do. Be somebody in Jordan. So let me see if I can play another game and win. So, what do you do when you're broken angry? Okay, we're gonna talk about it. Okay, we're playing an American. Okay, what do you do if you're broken angry? Okay, and I'm not being satire-ish or whatever. I'm legitimately what my appeal is and it's not just a race thing, but I would like black people to be more vocal about their financial issues. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I think that should be done. The reason why is because basically the reason why um, is that dealing with those financial problems will kind of deal with a lot of other issues. Like I think it all roads lead to Babylon. So like I think, in my opinion, dealing with dealing with those financial problems basically will deal with a lot of other problems. Kind of not dealing with them and not talking about them, in my opinion, it doesn't make things better. Like it doesn't, like you not wanting to basically talk about your financial lack thereof is not improving yourself or others. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not doing yourself any justice. It's not improving your financial well-being. It's just not. You avoiding embarrassment is not improving um your bottom line or others. Basically, what I'm saying. So that, like, if you, in my opinion, if you dealt with those issues, you can kind of like you can kind of deal with a lot of other issues. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, that's what I think that could happen. It's just it's my humble opinion um of what I think can happen. You know, if you addressed those issues. So because I mean, I wasn't always the guy that wanted to deal with financial problems. I wasn't always this guy that just wanted to you know talk about financial problems with people on the internet. That wasn't necessarily what I wanted to actually do. Like I was one of those guys that was like, basically um kind of just kept things private, kept things, pretty much you know private about, basically what was going on in my own personal, financial, um world or whatever. Like that was pretty much what I was doing. Yeah. So this is the part where, basically that's the that's basically what is needed. So he gave up on that one. So that was a critical victory. Yeah, that's live. This is definitely live. Yep, definitely live. So yeah, I mean, I just think personally, you got to deal with all your problems. I have a saying. I know I'm not probably the only one that ever said it, but what I was saying back in 2020, I was saying you got to overcome all your obstacles. And overcoming all your obstacles, okay, it really helps if you can just bring it out into the ether. And I'm gonna be honest, financial problems is like it's kind of like you got to look at it like I've never been in no 12-step program or something like that, but it's kind of like that. And here's the thing, right? I was looking at before I did this live. I was just, I was on the internet. I was listening to Art New Style, and I don't know where I saw it. I saw a picture, I think maybe on Facebook or something. I saw a picture of Glorilla, back when she was in I think she from Memphis, like before she got famous or whatever. When she was broke, she wasn't even like okay broke like working a job in corporate America and just trying to get by, trying to pay the mortgage, and it's different levels of broke, but she was basically teetering on the edge of poverty, right? That's how broke she was, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, in an ideal world, people should have more access to capital. But again, this country, as far as in there's something called the Gini coefficient. The Gini coefficient looks up wealth distribution. Basically, how the wealth is distributed amongst the people of that country. A lot of people think because America is so much money being made, it's so much, Wall Street, the entertainment, athletes, and, all this money being made. People are making a lot of money in America, okay? But as far as just everybody, in totality, right, in the country, there's this United States, and I know I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but I'm basically coming to a point to where I'm explaining how I think that people should have more money, but they don't. You're not passing out money like that. What I'm saying is the level of wealth attainment is easier in certain countries. People's idea, usually people from other countries, when they come over here, they're looking at America totally different. And they're like, okay, this is the land, I'm going to make money. And they do come over here and get money. Like immigrants come over here, they work every single day, they get paid. Okay, they do get money. But it's not easy as they thought it was going to be. Most of the immigrants, if you ask them, did you think this was going to be easy? And they're going to tell you, yeah, I thought it was. I did make some money, but it was hard. I had to deal with a lot of, people discriminating against me, calling me names and all of this other stuff. It wasn't easy. I had to deal with people. Like my father was a cab driver for over 30 years. My father, he's gotten robbed. He got beat up a whole bunch of times. He's gotten stabbed. I mean, my father had to go through hell in the streets of Chicago driving a taxi cab over the decades. So many stories and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, some people even come over here and they have a hard time and they just be like, you know what, forget it, man. I'll just go back to my country and just deal with whatever I can deal with there, because it's not easy as it seems. This is the financial capital of the world. It's China is definitely edging the US. You certainly got London, you got all of the capital centers. You got London, you got Hong Kong, you got basically Tokyo. If you know Forex, you already know this. You got the euro, all of the capital centers, and the United States is not like, as far as wealth distribution, the most equitable. It may seem that because America has their propaganda. Every country has their propaganda, movies, TV shows. and everything like that. But when you pull back the layers, there's a lot of red tape. You know, like for example, in order to day trade, you have to have a minimum of $25,000 to day trade. What's going on, Seeking My Creator? Yes, I'm from Chicago. I'm from the Chicago suburbs, man. I grew up in Chicago. I was born in Chicago, but I grew up. I'm a suburbanite. I'm a black suburbanite. You know what I'm saying? I ain't, I, it would be disingenuous for me to say I grew up on the south side or the west side of Chicago. Okay, I pretty much was going back and forth from the south side. I had family on the west side. But I didn't have to, fortunately for my mother and father, like working their butt off. I did not have to go to high school or grow up in the south side of Chicago and dealing with all of the gang banging and all the other stuff that a lot of people had to deal with in the south side of Chicago and the west side. I was in the burbs. And yeah, it was gangs in the burbs, but the way I looked at it, because I did move from Chicago to the suburbs when I was about 5 years old, and I looked at it like I looked at it like it was funny to me why the people trying to gang bang bringing that stuff to the suburbs. It's like it's like Mayberry Mayberry or Fresh Prince of Bel Air trying to gang bang. So I kind of stayed away from that stuff. But yeah, I grew up in the burbs, man. Middle class, basically your city girl mayor. That's where I grew up, Dalton, Illinois. It's middle class, black neighborhood, black suburban neighborhood right outside of Chicago. Um, about 5-10 minutes from Chicago. Uh, Parents both worked, married. Um, basically, my father's from West Africa, from Ghana. My mother's from Chicago. She grew up in Chicago. Mother grew up in Chicago. I grew up in the burbs, man. It was hardly no murders. People was fighting. It was a lot of fights, but it was pretty much everybody pretty much knew each other. If anything, you was gonna probably get a right cross to the face, or get stole on, or you was gonna steal on somebody back or whatever. That was the only thing you had to look out for. You ain't have to duck no bullets or duck for no gunshots and nothing like that. It was very few like uh gun violence or whatever. It was kind of like, man, I look at it like I grew up, it was kind of like Friday. That was kind of how it was. That was kind of how my suburban existence, man, was a little bit. It's like the movie Friday every day. Oh man, damn. Okay, he said, I own some props in Kenwood. Oh damn, you. That's why you. That's why you a rich man giving all them super chats and shit. I'm like, damn, that makes a whole bunch of sense right there. I know exactly. Um, like yeah, those are $1 billion blocks, man. And I look when I look at real estate, I look at real estate like a billionaire real estate investor. I look at the whole block. I look at the block and then I'll be like, I tally, what does this block cost? And it's like places in Hyde Park and even Kenwood, that the whole damn block probably costs, like one side of the street, probably, if you go from, like, let's just say 53rd all the way to 58th Street, that's $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's people that bought it in the 80s and held on to it, or even the 90s, man, they're rich, a lot of Jews, a lot of whites, they maintain those properties, and they're worth a lot of money. You got some Frank Lloyd Wright properties in Hyde Park. Also, so you lived there 7 years from LA, went to Northwestern. Oh, you a smart guy. You a genius. Like my my dad, before he started driving the cab, he went to the University of Chicago. So like it's tripped me out when I first heard it, because I didn't even know my dad went to the University of Chicago. And I was impressed when he said he went to the University of Chicago. I mean, because it's like damn, I never thought of it like that. I thought my mama was a smart one. No, my dad was an Ivy League man, genius, man. My mom went to like state schools like Chicago State, Illinois State. But yeah, man, my dad, he got in the University of Chicago. That's a In case anybody doesn't know, that's a Ivy League college in Chicago. I mean, basically university, highly selective. It's like Harvard. It's like Chicago's version of Harvard. Actually, I think they play Princeton and Harvard and Yale and those schools and stuff like that. Like it's Ivy League, very expensive. I think it's like last I heard it was like $50,000 a year or something like that. Um, and then Northwestern is it's like up north. It's suburban, northern suburban university, state university, Big Ten. Very very good, very good. Most people that I know that went to Northwestern, they they like they're pretty elite. As far as like they have a high level of success as far as in their career. Actually, a chick I dated, man, she went to Northwestern and took her pre-law, finished up her pre-law there, or went to law school actually there. So yeah, that's a pretty good background there. Oh yeah, you went to school there. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, man. They got some pretty good schools. Oh yeah, it's weird. Like the thing about what people don't know about the University of Chicago, it's kind of tripped out. So you got this Ivy League university, very very expensive. The story of University of Chicago is that one of the founders or the biggest benefactors of University of Chicago was John D. Rockefeller. Okay, I think he was like a billionaire in the early 1900s. Just think about that. Like the early 1900s, a car costs let's just say a house. You get a house for $100. you get a you get a probably a gallon of milk would have cost like 5 cents or something like that, or 3 cents. It's like everything was like dirt cheap, like the well before all of the inflation and everything like that. It's like if you had $1 billion, he was like God. Like that's how he was. Like he's like God. Okay. John Rockefeller, and he gave a whole bunch of money to University of Chicago to build all of these buildings and stuff like that. So you got all of this elitism, right? This elite university. And see what happened, it wasn't always like that. University of Chicago, surrounded by Hyde Park. and Kenwood, and basically it was this elite. All of Chicago. A lot of people don't know. All of Chicago, South Side and West Side, it used to be predominantly white. Back in the 40s and 50s, a lot of black people started to migrate from the South, start to move into Chicago, and then over the decades, they moved further into different parts of Chicago where white people were living, and the white people left in mass. And that's why you had Chicago, where where it's this chocolate city all of a sudden, and all these black people in Chicago, because all of the white people left. Most of them, they either moved further up north or basically further south in the suburbs, and basically the whole city was left to basically blacks, few Hispanics. A lot more Hispanics are there now that live there now, and then basically, the slow progression. A lot of neighborhoods, they turned Chicago basically turned into a lot of parts of Chicago turned into the hood. So I'm trying to give you a history of how Chicago kind of ended up to where basically I'm trying to explain to you that basically 2 blocks away from, or let's just say about a half a mile, or let's just give it a mile away from the University of Chicago, with all of this elitism, all of this high level accredited Ivy League university that's in Chicago, that's in the heart of Chicago. Like a mile away is O Block. You can walk to O Block, and then literally, it's changing now. It's rapidly changing now, but that area is literally surrounded by the hood. I'm talking about St. Ides, weed smoke, GDs, BDs going at war with each other, shooting each other, train tracks, just hanging out, liquor stores, just bad hood. Like, I mean, literally O Block is like really literally like a mile away. And it's not like it's just O Block. The whole area, 63rd, 64th, 65th, all of that is like the hood. I'm talking about, like, you do not want to mix up with them people in that neighborhood, and you better have some street smarts, and you probably want to just keep walking and get to where you ever trying to get to. Most likely probably trying to get on the green line to go somewhere outside of that place, go back downtown or wherever you're trying to go, and get the hell on out of Dodge. But since then, it's rapidly changing. O Block basically they recently drove the rent prices up, and they have some type of development going on. It's called Parkway Gardens. That's the actual name of it. And they're basically supposed to be flattening all of those buildings and doing something else with that area. That whole area has changed. Okay. That area right now is going through high levels of gentrification and property speculation. It already has done so, because basically they're building the Obama Library about right off of the lake shore, close to the Museum of Science and Industry, all of that. So that whole area is going to be totally different. It's going to be way more expensive. It's more expensive now. Whoever owns property in that particular area is already basically got money in the bank, and it's going to be more money in the bank. Basically, yeah, I mean, that's what's going on there. and it's like, yeah, I know about that area. I'm pretty much, man. I've been in Chicago my whole life, but I'm in Gary doing the same thing. No, I'm in Gary, man. I'm in, I'm in Gary, man, doing the same shit. I just had to. I ain't really had that much money, man. I got priced out of Chicago a little bit. So I'm in Gary, kind of doing the same thing, man. One house at a time. But yeah, Morgan Park or Homewood Flossmoor, Olympia Fields, Richton Park. Yeah, they got some good suburbs, man. All of those suburbs you mentioned, those are like this one is kind of upper middle class. This is like when I talked about black enclaves, these are the upper middle class black enclaves. You know what I'm saying? So they do have some, like, you got some money, you got some black people that are classy that you can live around. You be all right. Schools is decent. You know what I'm saying? It's some upper middle class black enclaves in Chicago. Actually, Hyde Park is one of those as well. You know what I'm saying? So when people think of Chicago, it's certain neighborhoods that a lot of the violence, that makes the news and stuff like that. But I think that's propaganda, because definitely, I don't know why. I don't necessarily know why, what the motive is, but they're trying to, basically steer people to believe Chicago is this certain desolate place where you just gonna get shot and all of that. Those are like certain neighborhoods. Like where my grandma lived, it's like very low crime. The house costs are high. Like my friends, my grandfather's neighbor, um his house was sold for like over $300,000, and that's pretty high. That's considering the day's prices and stuff, that's pretty high. Like that's pretty expensive, because it's a good neighborhood. Very, very good neighborhood. Um, there's only two schools I went to in Chicago. I went to University of Pennsylvania and working on a PhD from Carnegie Mellon. Now, man, that's what's up, man. Let me give you some applause, man. You know what I'm saying? Work, you putting in some work, man. Let me see. Do I still got my applause? Let me see here, man. See what I got, man. See if I probably, man, let me turn on my sound effects, man. Get his brother, man, some claps, man. I'm gonna come up with something, man. Yeah,
I'm better than all of you, and I'm not tolerating anything broke this year. I'm not tolerating broke people, broke thoughts, broke responsibilities, or anything broke.
See, I gotta get my soundboard, man, hooked up, man. Let me see here, man. Let me get this sound together. Oh, let's see here. Gotta get this together, man. I had this stuff, man. See. Yeah, we gonna get it together later. I'll get that shit together later, man. I'll figure it out later, man. Yeah, Standard and Oil, Rockefeller. Yeah, Inglewood is like, so when I hear people talk about New York, they always talk about the Bronx. They talk about like the Bronx is like, it's like the, kind of the rough part that gentrification is going to take a lot more gentrification or whatever, or let's just say to sharpen the edges or whatever of the Bronx. Well, Chicago's Bronx is Inglewood. It's the rough edges. It's like the back of the yards. So it's I remember it's going back to the story about Chicago being primarily white, majority white, like I would just say pre 1960s, because when I was born in the 80s, I never saw, all I saw was Black Chicago, so I didn't see anything else, but it was before my time. But like this guy did some work for, I was working, I was a cable installer for Comcast, and I was working on the North Shore. I don't know if you've been, I think you probably been on the North Shore. The North Shore, that's where the old money is. That's where a lot of the the white people moved in the 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s. They moved up north. It's so many mansions and stuff up there, and like rare homes, and it's like beautiful architectural design estates and stuff like that up there. Because I used to live up there in Zion about 4 or 5 years ago when I was married, and this guy, he was rich. He was Jewish, and he said he lived in Inglewood in the 40s. He was like 80 some years old at the time. This is like 10 years ago. And he lived, I was basically helping him with he had an internet problem. So he had a mansion, okay? His house was so big that his basement had a basement. Okay, what do I mean? Because like, okay, what do I mean by, okay, his basement had a basement? So he had a basement, and then he had another layer that went down into a deeper basement. And this basement area that was like the lower foundation. It was like you walk downstairs, you were in the basement. He had like a workout room, his own like gym. He had like a big like living space where you could probably like watch TV or just chill out or whatever, or, do some yoga, Pilates or something like that. And then you walk down and you go into another like basement area, like where it's just kind of concrete floor or whatever, just a flat floor. And it was huge. It was like big as hell. So that's where his like entertainment center is, like, a lot of them guys up there, a lot of them people up there, they got speakers throughout their whole house that run through audio boxes, right? So that's like the thing that they did up there. So he had problems with his internet, and still to this day, it's been 10 years. This the only person that I've ever saw. He probably dead now. I don't even know. But he had his own horse racing simulcast in his office. So, like, okay, in order to watch horse races, you gotta go either to an off-track betting site or you have to go to like a horse track or something like that to watch horses. He had his own simulcast in his office. And, he bet on horse races and stuff like that. He actually owned some horses with a local news anchor in Chicago. I'd have to look his name up, but he's retired. He was on Channel 7 News. The name is on the tip of my brain, but I can't think of it. I can't remember it. But he's on Channel 7 News. He retired. He had like a thick mustache. But anyway, this dude was rich. Okay. He gave me like $100. He needed a router. I had to go to Best Buy to get him a router to help him because he needed a new router. And that was what solved the issue, man. And the thing is that he lived in Inglewood in the 1940s. That's like Inglewood was predominantly white in the 1940s and 50s. And then, black people moved there in the 50s and 60s, and the white people left. Now, I don't think all neighborhoods go to the hood when black people move in. I don't think that. But there's a common, just origin story that it kind of typically happens like that. But Inglewood just basically like a lot of other cities on the south side of Chicago. Actually, Inglewood is considered the southwest of Chicago. Because like this chick that she's a realtor in Chicago. I think she's from LA too. She goes by On the Spot Live. I was explaining to her how we break up the southwest side, the southeast side of Chicago, all that. We go by the Dan Ryan Expressway. So everything west of the Dan Ryan is like the west or whatever. And then everything on the east of the Dan Ryan is east. So like basically the Inglewood is on the west side of the Dan Ryan Expressway. So that's considered the south, going towards the southwest side of Chicago. But yeah, Inglewood is basically gangland. Okay. It's been gangland for the last probably 30, 40 years. It's been gangland, generations of gangbangers. Inglewood is so bad that it's news stories where they was having shootouts with basically Chicago police department. Like they were shooting at the police department. The police department had to call in like all, whatever 10-1 or whatever, all hands on deck. Like they were literally shooting at the fucking police. You know what I'm saying? Like they are like that's like basically the hardest part of Chicago, basically. It used to be Cabrini Green in the 80s and 90s, but then they tore it down. There was a lot of projects that was tough that basically they tore down. But yeah, Inglewood, it's just like a lot of other cities. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna say I'm not gonna do it. But it's a lot of single mothers. A lot of it's a correlation between basically single mothers raising children and violence. That's not me saying it. That's not me saying it being a misogynist, pointing out the actual facts. Those are the facts. Now, I can say that's by design, it's by social engineering. I can put my tinfoil hat on. I don't even have to put my tinfoil hat on. It's called war. Okay, but the thing is that those, the actual story of the welfare officer going around asking women, is their father around, and all of that. They were doing that heavy in Chicago before I was born. They was doing the welfare worker, the caring welfare worker going around checking single mothers, checking in closets, the Claudine story. They were doing that heavy in Chicago, making sure no man was around the house, because that was the agenda to keep the man. They knew to keep the man away from the woman, everything falls. The man is what holds the family together, is the foundation to the family. It's the walls, it's the protection, it's the security, it's a lot of things. They knew if they separate the men from the women and children, chaos will ensue. And that's what happened. And that happened throughout the entire United States. That happened in the South Side of Chicago, the West Side of Chicago, wherever. Because and it was a strategy, and it worked. That's all I could take. And it's not me saying, okay, the single moms, they to blame. It's what happened. It was a strategy, and it was successful, and it worked. Okay, now that's the basically missing link or whatever, that pretty much a lot of what happens is these men, they go out and they tribe up with other young men that are basically come from being housed with single mothers, and they shooting and killing each other, for whatever reason, because of, petty beefs, because, some chick that somebody like, whatever, that's what they do. Okay. They do that in a lot of different places, and do that in all over, you know what I'm saying? It's the commonality is the dead. I'm not going to say, if you come from a two parental household or nuclear family, that you're not going to grow up and be gangster or be, out there shooting up, committing Cain and Abel. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen if you have your mother and your father in your house. There's plenty of people that had their mother and their father in their house, and they still came outside and raised Cain and Abel. Okay. But most cases, the father, kept the children in line, kept the man in line, in the women in line, and they grew up successful, you know what I'm saying, for the most part. And you have outliers and all that type of stuff, but this, the commonality is definitely single mothers. Okay. Isaiah Thomas mother is an exception. If you saw, they used to have a Isaiah Thomas movie. It was like a kind of a biography or whatever, but a biography. And my Isaiah Thomas mother was very she had to be masculine, and she was very tough. And she was on Isaiah Thomas, and his older brother kept Isaiah Thomas in line and kept the gangs off of him, and he can go play ball. He played basketball for the private high school, Catholic high school, which is St. Joseph, and then went on to play for Indiana, and the rest is history, going up on the west side of Chicago. But it's not like if every black woman was like Isaiah Thomas's mother, then we'd probably have a different conversation. But every black woman is not fucking Isaiah Thomas, single mom, shotgun under the fucking kitchen sink, don't take no shit. You better stay in the house and do your homework, and I better not hear anything from the school. That's not the fucking template of black women. So the typical template of why these kids in Chicago act the way they do is the mom is on Facebook, Instagram, talking to Keisha, talking to her friends, worrying about what she got going on, letting the kids do whatever the fuck they want to do. That is what is the typical behavior of the single mother in Chicago and different parts of the country. And they come on TV talking about when their son got shot up, crying, because he got caught up in gang violence, basically in war, and that's what typically happens, and I'm not sad about it. It was at one point I used to be sad about it, but unfortunately I've gotten battle hardened and conditioned because I've been seeing these news stories for multiple decades at this point, and it's just pretty much it's just standard business. But I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, whatever philosophy I think or anything is mute. It's what happens. But Inglewood, it's got a lot of cracks to deal with. If they follow the model of Roseland and Pullman and stuff like that, then they might be on a path that it could have some type of turnaround. I think that I had a vision about Inglewood. I would demolish entire areas and turn it into a park. I would turn it into a forest reserve or some shit, because one of the things that I know about houses and stuff, if you get rid of a lot of dense residential, you get rid of people. The people that's gunning them up and shooting them up and out here raising Cain and Abel, they live places. Okay, they live in housing, a lot of Section 8 housing, a lot of apartment buildings. And I know it won't happen, but I think that they need to, obviously, if the buildings are abandoned, which a lot of them have been, need to bulldoze them. I think they even need to use eminent domain and just bulldoze a lot of those areas to build some type of forest preserve, so they can just kick those people, because that will kick the people out of the area. See, it was easy to kick the people out, the bad seeds or whatever, out of the area with the projects, because all they had to do was just move them out and then bulldoze this big building. Well, with Inglewood, it's not a whole bunch of project buildings. It's a bunch of, basically multi-family homes and regular homes, single family homes, and a whole bunch of people, in these areas that are, out here raising Cain. Different gangs, different factions, raising Cain and Abel out there. So I think that, if I had something to do with it, I would just use eminent domain and come up with some type of project where it could create some big park, big forest preserve or something, so they could get them people up out of there. Because it's like you got to get people out of areas where they all just bunched up like a concrete jungle. But what happens is, how they get people out of areas is they raise the taxes up. They use capitalism. Basically in reverse, because that's how they got in those areas, because those areas became dirt cheap because of the violence and the crime, and then the properties wearing down. Well, when they raise the taxes, those people have to go. They can't afford to live there. Then the property values eventually go up. Then they go out of, they move out of the area. But Inglewood, when that's going to happen like that, I don't know. I think it would probably take about 20 years to date. I mean, but they are buying properties in Inglewood. I joke around. I say, when I see properties, and I could see somebody that's an out of towner, they could probably, they'll learn, but they'll have to deal with it, but they wouldn't know a particular area or whatever. They just see a building that's $50,000, and they like, oh wow, But when I know all about Inglewood, and it's like, man, I joked and I said, man, I posted a building or whatever, for sale. And I was like, I posted the A-team, because that's who you're gonna need to help when you start working on that building. You're gonna need the damn A-team shit to do the project. But that's just something I thought about. But yeah, it's rough over there, man. It's definitely rough over there, man. If I had the choice between to live in Gary, Indiana, or Inglewood, I'm gonna stay in Gary. I'm gonna stay my ass in Gary, man. Oh man. Say here. Say what? Okay. Oh yeah. I'm definitely interested in that. Let me see here. Let me put my email in the chat. I used to have my email scrolling, and then I started to notice I started getting all these damn advertising and shit. You know what I'm saying? I started getting emails from Tony the Closer. and then I said, Tony the Closer, I said, okay, you emailing me. I was like, man, I need some money, man, to buy some real estate, man. You want to get in on some real estate, And I was left unread. I'm from LA's version of Inglewood, which is Watts. You heard of it? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of the first serial killer came out of Chicago. That's crazy. Yeah, but yeah, it's a thing where basically I'm an optimist generally, and it's like I have to be by survival to be an optimist, but I am generally an optimist. I'm not a hopeism type person. Like, I'm an optimist in the sense that I do believe that better outcomes is possible. Like, I wouldn't have moved to Gary if I didn't believe that things was going to possibly be in an up and up, and it was opportunity. I wouldn't have did it, like, because I had options to move. I had options to move other places, with the small amount of capital that I had. But the reason why I chose Gary was because I saw it had a potential to have some type of rebound, and I was right. And I was so right that it was like, wow, because that's what happened. and it's going on as we speak. So it's like, basically Inglewood has train districts that go through Inglewood, and it's that was why it was called back of the yards. It was train yards back there. So those things are, they're trying to work on those things. They're trying to build, I think, some type of new railroad system or connect something to there. They got some things going on in Inglewood. It's things are in cycles. Things are cyclical. Like, for example, I mentioned New York. I mentioned the Bronx. Same thing that people missed out on Hyde Park and Kenwood, and they missed out on South Loop of Chicago because it was those places. The South Loop had, the projects was the South Loop. They had the, Stateway Gardens, Robert Taylor Homes. Then now those areas are white people live there, and Asians, Chinese and stuff like that. It borders Chinatown. So it's like that's the same thing that happened in New York. Like, New York was pretty violent. It was pretty messed up. I appreciate that, man. It was really low down, and then 20, 30 years happened, and it total turnaround. Now people can't even live in New York. They moved out of New York because it's got too expensive. So it's like, for the people that kind of know what's going on, and a lot of times you find out what's going on when you get older, you get wiser. You like, okay, I seen that play before. I know what they're gonna do. Okay, it's gonna get bad, and then they're gonna have some type of something going on, and then they're gonna buy up, all these properties. So you got Brooklyn was like that. Brooklyn was, all those nice, brownstones and all of that, and most people sold their grandma's place. They sold their grandma. They sold their mom's house. They sold their mom's building, their grandma's building, their granddad's building, and then, basically they learned. Hopefully some of those people learn their lesson. And the thing is though, the New York, story is going to become the Chicago story, and it's already becoming that, where this place is going to get more expensive, and people going to get priced out, and it's going to keep rising. It's going to keep going higher and higher, and they're going to build more buildings. They're going to start building. They're already building more skyscrapers because Chicago has a lot of New York capital, has a lot of international capital, has a lot of movers and shakers from around the world. But Chicago is a globalist city, like most cities. It's a lot of international capital in Chicago. And the thing is that it's trying to catch up to New York, and I can see that. And the move is to compete. I'm not just gonna watch. I'm gonna try to compete wherever I can. My uncle, he got a couple properties in Chicago, just single family homes. He had some buildings, but he wasn't a good property manager. He's better off with just single family homes, because being a property manager, having buildings, it takes a certain type of individual to deal with those people. And then you got particular areas where he had the area where his building was like it's like an F grade neighborhood. So it's hard to collect rent and deal with people, in those types of neighborhoods. It's just difficult. Now you can do some things like if you have a building that has security, you have good property, quality is as far as floors and kitchens, bathrooms, everything, appliances. You have washer, dryer access, and all of that type of stuff. You can get applicants that'll risk, if they got a nice apartment, they'll risk living around a bunch of hoodlums and stuff. But um, it's an art to it, and it's like basically he didn't really do that well. He didn't do that well with that building, so he had to sell it. But he's I think he's better. I tell him, like I say, you better off with single family homes because he got like Section 810, and basically he's print money every month with that tenant. So she's a long term tenant or whatever. And I think there's some people that's just better off with single families. Some people are better off with single families than multi-families, but um that's pretty much what's going on in Chicago. The taxes are going up, and I definitely believe the taxes is going up so they can kind of kick some people up out of there. It's the capitalism, man. Is it's a crazy system, man, but it's effective. I mean, it is one of the things I gotta say that about capitalism. It is definitely very, very effective. Um, basically, you got the University of Chicago School of Economics with I believe Milton Friedman. It's called classical economics, and it's like, man, when you start to get in the weeds of all that stuff, man, you really learn some things. I appreciate, man, your dialogue, man. Definitely I'll be off to back to hitting the hay myself real soon. Um Oh yeah, I appreciate that too, man. I'm gonna check you out as well, man. I try to, one of the things I do is I try to listen to men that kind of have more financial well-being than I do, because a lot of times, man, when I find myself listening to cats that struggling worse than me, or and they're definitely not even talking about it, so they keep it a secret. It's like, man, that stuff starts to kind of like unmotivates you, man. And I need motivation too myself. I'm on here, I'm trying to give motivation, but I need motivation too, man. I need to see, I need to see somebody, man, some renovation projects, man. I need to see some nails in the wall, some screws, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to see some inspiration, man. I need to hear that inspiration. I need to hear that confidence in your voice, because it's like, man, I'm still got a long way to go myself, man. I'm still trying to come up. I work hard, the last several years, and I'm in a pretty good shape, but I still got a long way to go, man. And I got an uphill battle, man. And I try to listen to people, man, that's more affluent, man, than I am. And the thing is that's one of the reasons why I listen to Tommy, man, because I'm like, Tommy got that bread, man. He found a way to survive off of YouTube, basically not being on YouTube, man. That's one of the reasons, man, I listen to Tommy, man, because Tommy is, he got that bread, man. He still got a couple of his properties and stuff like that, man. It's like I can't, I listen to my folks that whoever I listen to, man, that regular individuals or whatever. but it's like, man, I need to, hear people that also are more affluent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those individuals that, um, be like, man, what you my master now? You got your master's degree. What you think you my master, huh? No, my both of my parents were educated. My grandfather's educated. Um, my father was educated, man. It's like, man, I'm definitely pro education as well as self education as well. So um, people that are, because see, the thing is like one of the things I do respect as well, as far as what I'm saying is, I know how hard it is in this country being a black man trying to make it, trying to make some money for yourself. I know it's not easy. So I respect, men, that like myself have it hard trying to earn a dollar in this country. And if you found a way to, kind of do that and it's stuff like that, man, I just, I know it comes from a situation where I know it wasn't easy for you, and I respect that. Other people don't look at it like that. Other people don't look at it like that. I do. I look at it like, if a brother made some money, he got to a certain level. In most cases, I know he probably had a hard time doing it because I know how hard it is trying to earn in this country. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just how I look at it. But I'm just gonna play this one game, keep it just like that. I'm gonna get off of here. I appreciate shout out to Salty Balls, man. I can't believe I said that. But shout out, man. Shout out to my man Salty Man Balls, man. Oh man. Where's my there you go.
Pause.